I'm sorry. I don't believe I'm out of line by asking that. Do not tell me that it is not an Ndamukong Suh issue when the last 2 weeks have been Ndamukong Suh issues. What happened on Thanksgiving Day and what took place when he went home made it an Ndamukong Suh issue. I did not attack. I did not try to overly pry. This is a weekly interview. This is a weekly spot with us. We've talked to this guy, and we actually kind of like the guy, and we talk to him every week. This is the opportunity for us to ask the questions that need to be asked. You guys are the fans. You don't get that audience. I'd like to think we asked the questions you wanted us to ask. But the last part of it, I'm sorry. And Terry, I do apologize if I caused an abrupt ending to that interview.
That's all right.
But don't tell me it's not about you. You made it about you. Then he says I didn't make it about me. He made it about him the minute he stepped on a player. The minute after the game, he tried to talk his way out of it and then did a half apology on Facebook. It is about him.
It did become about him. But, Mike, here's what I would like to do, because I always know that fans out there say, and they don't have the privy, you guys asked the wrong questions, or you were too soft, or you're too rough, or you're too whatever. You guys heard what happened. You heard what it's like to be in our world. And you heard how sometimes you don't get the answer because fans are, how come you get this answer? Well, you found out. You listen to Ndamukong Suh. You listen to us. Critique it. And I know you have other things you may want to talk, but I would at least like for people to address that issue too. Critique what you heard between us and Sue.
And don't be afraid to criticize us. If we were wrong,
roll on us.
But I don't think those questions were inappropriate. I don't think I was disrespectful.
Hey, stop. You're prejudicing the jury.
Okay.
Don't say that.
Okay.
Let people critique what happened the last 10 minutes. 248-539-9797. Okay? Don't prejudice people. Let them roll 97-1. Oh, no, we can't. Yes, 97-1. Terry Foster, Valenti and Foster, 97-1, The Ticket. It's very seldom that we ask that you critique us. But I think this is a perfect opportunity. You heard Ndamukong Suh live. And you know what? If we were wrong and out of line, let us know. But that was the way we felt that interview needed to go. And I want to hear what you have to say. What do you think of Sue? What did you think of us? I think it's just time to roll and see what the fans say.
I think it's time to get an honest appraisal here. And you know what? Do not be afraid to criticize us. If you think we ask unfair questions, bring it on and do it. I don't know what we were supposed to ask.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, Mike? Some people might say, well, that was old news. You didn't have to bring that up.
That's the first time we've had to talk to him.
Correct.
That's our job. Our job is to communicate what not only we want, but, dude, in a twisted way, we're the voice of the fan.
Correct.
I see my email. I see my Twitter. I take the phone calls daily.
Right.
Knockdown calls. Let's do it. Go to Paul, 97.1. Hi, Paul.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
All right.
You know, all I want, I mean, that's boring. It's heck. He's got a book in front of him that they actually just tell him that, you know, it is an in-house. It's our team. We support that team. We should be able to know what's going on a little bit. And all they had to say is, yeah, I sat back and I learned, I got to keep control of my temper. Or yeah, I took off from a stop sign, was a little slipper out, I hit a sign, everybody's okay and move on. But he doesn't even go that far. It's boring. I mean, I love your show, but I don't want to listen to that crap.
Well, you know, here's my standpoint. If I were involved in an accident and somebody came out and said something that wasn't true, well, you're damn right. I'm going to say, well, now, wait a minute. Here's my side of the story, and then that's it. Well, I probably wouldn't answer anything else. I'm not going to let somebody lie about me and just get away with it, if that's the case.
You gave him his chance, and he didn't take it. It's just boring as interviews with this guy. I like the guy's play, but he's immature, too. He's just trying to hide behind something. I don't know what it is.
Well, the one thing about Soon, he's been consistent on this, is he doesn't talk about his personal life. He's one of those guys that's not going to let you in, and so it's consistent with what he's been about. However, something as big as this, I think he should have at least let us in a little bit more to let us know what he was thinking.
No,
and maybe it's something legit.
Hey, when he made it out that it was us making it a Sue issue, that's where I took exception to that. Mm-hmm. And I don't apologize for that. We did not make this a news issue. His suspension was not something we did or we propagated. it is what it is. And I just, come on. You know, and at that point, you know, he goes, well, you're only getting the answers you're getting because of the questions you're asking. Okay, Ndamukong, what do you want me to ask you? What am I supposed to ask you? I come on the air and I ask about the Oakland Raiders. I'm disingenuous towards my audience. I lose the credibility I have with my audience. No, those questions needed to be asked, period. And if he doesn't want to answer them, then fine. You know what? Maybe it's just not a good idea to do the interview, okay? I don't know. But that to me that's how this business works. Nothing was personal. Nothing was unfair.
Well, I am sure none of those questions were asked today when the Detroit media talked to him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm being sarcastic. Because you know that's exactly what they were asking, too. Because people want to know. When you don't hear from somebody, you want to know what was going on through their head. Did you apologize to teammates? Are you going to be different? Will this ever happen again? Because Mike, I've talked to guys that played in the league, and they said he's going to have to deal with this each and every game. And if he's got a little button that sets him off, people are going to start poking it now, because now he's a target. And he's got to fight against that. This is for the team.
Go to Dave, 97.1. Hello, David.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey.
What's up, David?
That interview should be required listening to every aspiring politician. I've never heard such masterfully evasive answers. And from your end, I thought you guys not only asked the right questions, I thought you were so respectful in the tone and approach that you took. We're not talking about Vatican secrets here. I don't understand that level of evasiveness, particularly the question about what did you learn from it? What does that have to mean?
Mm-hmm. Look, Dave, life is about learning things. We all make mistakes, each and every one of us. But you know what? When you make a mistake, you sit down, you think about it, and say, I goofed this up, or I need to learn. This is how we grow as people.
Here's the biggest problem. In the questions we asked, I thought there were a couple opportunities where he could have said, all right, guys, look, I know where this is going, and as much as I'd like to talk about the Raiders, here's the deal. I am sorry for what I did. I did apologize to my teammates. And I want fans to understand that as hard as I play and as aggressive as I play, I don't want stuff like that to define me.
Mm-hmm.
All right? I'd really like to move on. But he didn't do that.
Right.
At no point did he say he was sorry. It was always at the appropriate time, or I'm not going to tell you about that. Or, you're not in my personal circle. I mean, at some point, let's just be real, all right? We've done a weekly interview for 12, 13 weeks, 11 of the 13 weeks he's been with us. You know, it's not like we're strangers, and it's not like, at some point, if you're going to do the interview, you got to give a little. You just have to. Otherwise, we can't do it.
Mm-hmm. And, Mike, the other thing is you've got to clear your name. If you feel that your side of the story is not getting out there, I mean, he's been getting roasted nationwide, and it's not going to change. Maybe you could have changed things a little bit. But no, he's fighting the national media, officials, other teams, some of his fans even here in Detroit. You got to clear some of that up.
Let's go to Jake, who's an A squared. He's up next. Hi, Jake.
Hey, good afternoon, fellas.
Hey, what's up, man?
I just want to say, for the most part, I think I've listened to pretty much every Ndamukong Suh interview and that you guys done, and I am just tired of it. That one drove me crazy. I wanted to slam on my brakes and just start screaming when I heard that interview. I'm tired of this guy. You guys, for once, Mike, I did not think you were out of line, and I was hoping you were going to give it to him harder than you did. I thought you went a little too soft on him for once.
Yeah, you see, that's the problem, Jake. I try to be respectful, and I got people on one side saying you should have been harder. Then I got people on the other side, they're going to say, my God, you can't ask a question like that. You can't follow up a question like that. You shouldn't do that. Jake, in the end, I'm going to do what's right. And to me, that really bothered me when he tried to say that it wasn't about him, and he wouldn't answer that follow-up. And then, frankly, the minute he was challenged on it, the interview ended. Yeah, to me, that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, Jake.
And as a Detroit sports fan, you guys are my number one resource of getting information about sports. So therefore, I need to hear this from him through you guys. I don't have the opportunity to go and call him up and say, dude, what really happened?
Right, absolutely.
You know, I need you guys to do that, and that's what you do, and you get, you know, BS answers like you got today, and I hope you guys really never go with another interview with that guy. But thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks a lot, Jay. Hey, look, I think you have to be as respectful to people as possible. You know, I never want to do an interview where I'm screaming at the guy and say, hey, what did you do this? What, you know, Mike and I listen to what you guys talk about. And I don't think we asked anything that fans weren't questioning or had asked us either an email, like Mike said, Twitter or something like that. That's where I get my feed. I mean, if you don't care about something and I don't care about it, I'm not going to ask it. But I think this is what a lot of people wanted to know here in Detroit.
248-539-9797. Gary's up next. Hi, Gary.
Hey, you guys were spot on. Spot on. Bravo. It's indicative of how this guy is arrogant. He thinks he's holier than thou. He lost me as a fan. He can play. The Lions can play good without him. Get rid of him. He, you know, it's indicative of what this guy is really like in person. Everybody's kind of afraid and kind of handle him with kid gloves. This is what this guy is really like. True colors. We don't need anybody like that. He's bad to be a representative from Detroit. I got friends all over the country calling me and going, "Who is this clown? He's an idiot." You know, it's ridiculous. He's not better than anybody else. He's a public figure, and he owes it. He could have made all of this go away by simply saying, "I lost it. I lost my cool. Yeah, sorry. Let's go on. Let's move on." Instead, he perpetuates this whole thing by his arrogance. Get rid of him.
Well,
who needs a guy like this?
Well, Gary
gets beat up enough as is. We don't need anybody like him.
And Gary, let me say this. I will ask you to settle down just a little bit, Gary. I know you're upset and you're worked up. A lot of people are. But think about how talented he is, and think about what he can do for this football team. I mean, I just wouldn't get rid of him. He's a very valuable part of this football team. He's very talented. You know, if he learns from his mistakes, he can bring a lot of great publicity to Detroit, not only because the team is winning, but because he is a guy that is articulate and can present, you know, good arguments and that kind of stuff when he's right.
He should run for political office. He squirms. He squirms with the best of them.
Well, and you know what? There was an opportunity there for him to really win points with people. I think fans listen in each week to that interview. And, you know, we kind of know what's going on. We know we're not going to crack the inner circle, and I'm not interested in that. I just want to get to know the guy and have a nice conversation each week, and some weeks are going to be more fun than others. Weeks like this, after you spend 2 weeks suspended because of something you did, you know, that's not going to be fun.
You guys,
and he needs to respect. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Go.
But he needs to respect what we do for a living. Everything is, we need to respect him, and we do. We don't make it personal. I don't think we attacked. I don't see any time where Terry and I have stepped out of line and been very confrontational. He needs to respect what we do for a living. You know, this is what we do. Mm-hmm. And when something like this goes down, you're not going to get to dictate how that goes. That's an interview. And if you don't want to answer the questions, then we'll talk to you next week.
And you guys you were trying to catch up because you didn't talk to him the last 2 weeks because he was, you know, contractually not allowed based on the suspension. And he has stayed consistent. That's what he said to you guys is what he said to the media before the interview. But unfortunately, fans love the guy. Mm-hmm. And, hey, you know what, guys? I screwed up. I'm really sorry. Let's move on and answer maybe a couple and then try to move on. I mean, I'm looking at the ticket text. It's so black and white. It's unbelievable. Sue just drove me nuts. Scott in Lake Orion. Another guy says, you're going to run Sue out of town. The best defensive player in the NFL. Great job, guys. You guys are idiots. Oh, yeah. Crazy.
You know what? If he doesn't want to get personal and doesn't want to talk about what happened with teams, that's fine. But when you ask did he apologize to his teammates, he could always say, look, I'm sorry for what I did if he was, and maybe he's not. Because maybe in a way he doesn't feel he did anything wrong. But
that's even more disturbing then.
Yeah. But, you know, he wasn't there for his teammates during 2 very important games. And I know we all assumed that they were going to lose to New Orleans and beat Minnesota. Well, guess what? They were in that New Orleans game, and they almost lost to Minnesota.
97.